Thank you for having me here. I welcome you. I was asked to tell you something about internal communication on private sector. I was asked to give you maybe some insights of how private sector is doing things. And I was asked to keep it in short time. So, first thing I bring to you is some color. Like you see, the main color of my company is magenta. So maybe you put up your sunglasses or whatever. It's going to be very colorful. Topics for today, and we had no exchange before. I'm going to start with a story of me getting a coffee. After this story, I'm going to take two fundamentals of modern communication to you, which nearly most of my customers, most of my clients are working with, and it's maybe not really new, but kind of the difference between a governmental and private sector. This is me, a bubble. I've spent 5 years of my life in military, German army. I learned communication and strategy a very special way as a sniper. Maybe you can imagine kind of really strange things. In fact, in communicating to each other, in having strategic things. After my military time, I took place to studying communications, and I was working at least 6 years as a marketeer. Completely other way of communicating. The customer in front of me, communicating projects, products, solutions, understanding my customer, having data-driven and knowing each other communication. Then I spent a lot of time in developing business models. Business models, in fact, of digitalization, globalization. I was part of a company selling printers, really big printers, like all of you know them. As you might know, printers, paper, there's maybe less use of it in the future. So my boss asked me to have a model, a disruptive model of keeping the company alive and changing the way we work. As you can imagine, communicating with employees inside this company and the customers of this company took strange tasks to me. Today, and this is where magenta is on the screen, I'm a consultant of digital transformation. You all know Deutsche Telekom, I think. TSystems is a company of Deutsche Telekom. We are specialized in doing technology, doing consulting, doing everything digital transformation concerns. And I am a specialist for taking a company, taking employees, taking whatever it is to maybe modern ways. This is me inside most of all the stations I told you. This is me taking place in the organization chart of my company now, the blue bullet. You see it, organization chart in quite modern companies are same than the classic way. There are hierarchies, there are different levels, there are executives, and there are maybe a lot of much more complex charts than this. This is my place where I work. In my company, there's Adam. Adam is a colleague. I didn't know Adam. I heard of him. I heard of him because he's one of the 30,000 colleagues, one of a person that works at the same topics like me. He's also in topics like new work, transformation, digitalization. He spends time doing the same things like I do. How would it work when we both want to exchange? This is a real story. He asks his boss. You see it on the lines, the yellow ones. There's a boss, I don't know the level. He asks us if there are any resources, any time, any budget for planning time, any internal use time, any whatever resources of getting an exchange to me. To me, another department, another skills, another things we are doing in my department than in his department. But he wants to exchange with me. The bosses talk to each other. My boss is talking to his boss. And they're getting an agreement of yes, maybe it would be good to exchange. Maybe there are things we can learn from. Maybe you have done things I want to do, and the other direction. So I got a coffee. I got a coffee with Adam. There was 2 hours. We had 2 hours to exchange, and we had a chat over coffee, explaining each other what we're doing or not. Why did I tell this story? I think it's obvious to say. What is wrong with this kind of exchange? What is wrong with this kind of internal communication? I think you recognize it's some overdone, and the story might have been shorter and calling each other or whatever. But this is the main problem in internal communication, I think. What is the classic way? I need to know who might be someone who can help me, might be someone who works with the same topics, who has same skills or whatever. Cross-border communication. There are classic hierarchies, structural hierarchies with borders, with communication borders, classic way. The main problem, the request to solution is far too long. Asking two people, the bosses, maybe another level and another level and another level for getting work together is the wrong way. And as I mentioned, there's much more complex structures than this example in my story at the beginning. So in my company and my opinion, there are two fundamentals on getting crushed these borders. There are two things of modern communication that can change this. The private sector is quite a long way for the governance sector in taking care of these two things. The first one, everyone communication. And the second one, everywhere communication. What does that mean? Everyone communication is not meant to, or let's say it the other way, everyone communicates all day long. Maybe with a colleague right in front of me, sitting right on the desk beside of me, or maybe writing emails, getting calls or whatever. Everyone communication does not mean there are some people not communicating, which should. It does mean one level communication. If it's a problem to communicate directly to Adam, not with the bosses between us, then it's not one level communication. One level communication means everyone in my company has the same rights, have the same opinion, have the same skills, have same everything of saying things, communicating. Hierarchy versus networks. Not structural hierarchy, communicating hierarchies. Networks as the antagonist of it. The antagonist getting people together by communication. What does that mean? What does that mean for employees? Employees are former recipients. Top-down communication, we've heard it a lot today. Top-down communication means someone right up in our structure communicates. We had a newsletter, we had an email, we had whatever. It goes down through the company, and all the other people in the company are recipients of this information. Maybe reading the right things on it, maybe not. Maybe hearing the captain saying, keep your heads down for security, maybe not. Whatever, recipients have their own opinion on things they get. Today, there's the way of an editor, and this is what everyone and one-level communication means. Everyone is an editor. There are networks, there are groups, there are communities, there are people coming together, sharing, exchanging, and communicating on different topics, no matter where they are leveled in their structure. What does that mean for executives? The former lone wolf, top-down, like I mentioned. Today, in private sector, there's it's not a trend, it's status. There's a real dialogue eye to eye. There's no level borders, no hierarchy borders in communicating. Sure, there's a difference who sent valid information, what's our communicating department in company, but for executives, there's no way in having a rank for communicating something. No, it's a passion. Transparency, integration, authenticity, all the things communicating internally are changing in our status and private sector. Everyone communication, and the list could be much more longer than this, is changing fundamentals, top-down to bottom-up or dialogue. Hierarchy versus culture, remember, not structural hierarchy, communicating hierarchy, culture communication, sharing, collaboration. Employee versus human. We are all people having something to say. There's no rank, there's passion. If I like working on topics, if I have something to say for topics, there's no border and where I have my bubble in the organization chart. Close to open, process to project, communication to conversation. This is the main words. Communication becomes conversation. It's not getting information right through one company. It's the best thing is getting information back because of this information. Rigid to agile. Could be a list much more longer than this. Number 2 is the everywhere communication, from processes to technology. And this is where globalization and digital working is meant with technology. We've heard it before. Technology gives us the opportunity to do. Number 1 was culture. Number 2 is everywhere getting information to everyone. Not sitting in the park or in home office or whatever, that's not meant. Getting information to everyone who needs information. Social, we've heard it a lot, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Why not communicate social inside a company? Social collaboration, social internet, social communication. Why not use human profiles, not employee profiles? Best in breed, and this is what digital working is best in. There's not one solution for all. There should be best in breed solution. One solution that fits best what I want to have it. One solution for communicating. I'm going to show you 2 examples. At Deutsche Telekom, there's a social intranet called You and Me. Deutsche Telekom, as you might mentioned, is technology is a working modern is everything digital working is, but Deutsche Telekom also is getting open up the earth for getting lines in, planning structure lines, sitting in lower level houses for getting things done for telecommunication things. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of employees not sitting in front of a desk, in front of a PC, in front of whatever. What about them? Are they not the company? Is classic getting information to everyone, is it really necessary for everybody to sit maybe half an hour a day at the PC to get information? No, it isn't. You and Me is one of the solutions for collaboration, for exchanging, for everything. There's a social collaboration tool, social intranet, where all the employees meet. I have an example. What can we do? It's one of the biggest communities, the biggest groups is our assistances, sitting all over the world. There are quite more than 11,000 assistances getting together in a group. Tim Höttke, CEO, has his own channel. He's writing whatever he wants, and everybody in the company is able to see it, to comment it, to get in contact, to get in dialogue with him. The other thing, and this is what workers in low-level houses, there's a service dialogue app, technology. It's a quite small thing. It's open to private devices. Everybody today has a smartphone in his pocket. Why don't we use a channel, and the Deutsche Telekom does, to get in contact with all of our employees via the app, no matter where the app is installed on. Sure, there are devices I get from my company, but private devices even just the same. And this is where technology helps us getting our culture done. I have some numbers for you. After 3 months of getting the app new, over 90% of all the employees registered. Over 40% are logged in daily. There are a lot of articles, a lot of comments, a lot of whatever. Communicating is not much longer a one-way thing. Communicating is getting information at this time I need it and everyone else need it to the point where they are. And the numbers shows you it works. So everywhere communication means not one for all best in breed. Everyone communication means situations are not longer. That's every time. It's not closed, it's open. They're not colleagues, they're communities. Getting together the right people. Not hearing of Adam maybe working at the same things as I. Finding him. Finding him and thousands of others working at the same topics. And it's not one way, it's a dialogue. It's the most important thing, it's a dialogue. So, exchange with everyone, everywhere, one level, and where I am means getting coffee. Getting a coffee with this person I want to. And like I mentioned, magenta. Maybe you have questions later. Thank you.